Today we're discussing the future of the memorial to the victims of communism in Ottawa, which was initiated with the cooperation of the previous Conservative government. Our guest is Teresa Berezowski, National President of the Canadian Polish Congress and a board member of Tribute to Liberty. Let's start with a brief update on the current status of the monument. Where does the project stand as of today?
As of today, it is going to be built. The place of the monument has been changed. It has been moved back to the original spot that was chosen, which is the Garden of Provinces and Territories, just down the street from the spot that we thought it was going to be in. And Minister Joly, who is the Minister of Heritage, has announced publicly that the government will continue to support building this monument.
Let's go over the timeline of the project. In 2014, Tribute to Liberty kickstarted a national design competition. The following year, the national jury selected the project put forth by architect Richard Kapusta from the US. Also, in 2015, the government announced its support to help TTL with the construction of the monument in a prominent location in front of the Supreme Court of Canada in Ottawa. After the federal election in 2015 and a change in government, the newly appointed Minister of Heritage, Mélanie Joly, stated her intention to reconfigure the project. What were the primary reasons for changing the project and revamping the work that had already been done?
Let me just start by saying that Mr. Kapusta also has an office here in Canada. He does have one in the United States, but he works with a Canadian architect here, so it wasn't strictly an American firm that won. As far as the project goes, it wasn't just the government. This started before the elections. Unfortunately, it became a political football with the key figures in Ottawa, the Architects Association, and so forth. And right now, I must say that the place that is being suggested is not one that we are against. The Tribute to Liberty really wants to have the controversy end and get on with building the monument. We're glad that the government has said that they have come out and supported us. And it wasn't just a government initiative, it was also an initiative of the groups of people involved in Tribute to Liberty who felt that people who gave their lives for justice and freedom and democracy need to be remembered.
As promised by the Minister of Heritage, a national survey was launched in early February, asking people for their input. Between February 2nd and 16th, Canadians from coast to coast to coast will have an opportunity to fill out an online questionnaire posted by the Department of Canadian Heritage. First of all, what are the questions that the department is asking? And secondly, how useful do you think this survey is in determining the location and the design of such an important memorial?
The questions involve the placement of the monument, the size and scope of the monument, and also the use of the area around the monument. Would it be used as a contemplative garden? Would it be used for meetings? Would it be used for rallies and so forth? So those questions appear on the survey. And then there's room for a person to include their own personal views about the monument. As far as the survey goes, surveys are whatever the statistician decides to make of it. Statistics can skew things, but they can also prove to be useful. So how useful this will be, I'm not sure. It depends on the responses.
On February 3rd, 2016, the Ottawa Citizen posted an article on the challenges associated with the questionnaire. Namely, the fact that the link to the questionnaire is hard to find and there is no link to the questionnaire on the department's homepage. According to the article, once users were able to locate the questionnaire, they discovered that the document had already been filled out. In another instance, users encountered negative comments about the memorial posted by other participants. What is your reaction to these troubling reports?
I have to admit that until I heard this question, that I hadn't heard anything that negative, although I will say that it's interesting to note that when the government did a survey about Le Breton Flats in Ottawa, it had a 3-month period in which people could complete the survey, and they had 5,000 responses. Yet the Ottawa Citizen reported the day after this survey became public that they already had 4,000 responses. It's very hard to say why, who had the right to respond. Was there a pre-survey survey? However, I would say that I sent the survey out to the Polish community, sent it out to friends, family, and so forth, and everybody that received it had no problem filling it out.
Teresa, not only are you a board member of the Tribute to Liberty project, you're also the national president of the Canadian Polish Congress. Many Canadians of Ukrainian and Polish heritage share similar stories, having survived communist regimes. How is the Polish community reacting to the fact that the new Canadian government wants to downsize the monument and move it to a less prominent location?
Not so much a less prominent, because as I said before, the location is not a bad one. It's just down the street. It's a matter of the monument having a scope that says this was an important thing. We say that this was not something that affected Canadians as such. I certainly personally do not disagree with building any monument to the Holocaust, and I understand that it should never happen again, that it affected people, but it didn't happen in Canada. So if the argument is being used that communism did not happen in Canada, that it didn't affect an average Canadian, then let's look at why are we against that and not against a monument to the Holocaust? Because people who died through communism or because of communism died trying to save their families also. They died trying to save their rights, their faith, their beliefs, their traditions. And I think that when you consider that 8 million Canadians come from families, a background, yourself, myself, a background that was affected by communism, it deserves to be recognized here, especially since Canada is that land of freedom that our parents and grandparents all came to.